This TikTok doctor was just put on blast for stealing $1.5 million from his kids, and this led him to delete a bunch of videos and seemingly vanish, almost like he had something to hide. So, meet Dr. Pompa. He's blown up on TikTok and Instagram in the recent years in the health space. His popular content is essentially, don't consume this product because of this bad thing inside it. And honestly, that's a never-ending goldmine because there's criticism to make about a lot of the popular food products when it comes to how healthy they actually are for you. But because of his wording, he found himself in a potential legal situation with Logan Paul and his drink Prime. And this whole situation stems from this video.
Parents, listen, this is scary. Are your kids drinking this? Class action lawsuit. 3 times the level of forever chemicals, PFAs, found in this. 3 times the level that they consider safe for lifetime exposure is found in this drink. And right now, class action lawsuit, and yet we're still finding it on store shelves. Send the video, share the video. Moms, share it out because we don't want teenage kids. That's who's drinking this, evidently drinking this stuff.
Yeah, so this video got about 10 million views before he deleted it. I'm sure Logan Paul and Prime weren't really a big fan of that video. But what's interesting about this situation is Dr. Pompa is just echoing a lawsuit and what another TikTok lawyer said.
I never thought that Logan Paul and Forever Chemicals would be in the same sentence, but there's actually a class action lawsuit against Prime Energy and Prime Hydration, which are energy drinks and sports drinks that were made by a company called Prime Energy, owned by Logan Paul. And one of the allegations is that Prime Hydration has PFAS and PFOs, forever chemicals, in them. So this is an ongoing lawsuit. And our office was actually recently contacted by a young boy who has leukemia after drinking Prime Hydration, and PFOs and PFAs have been linked to specific types of cancers.
That video is way more concerning for Logan Paul and Prime as he vaguely links Prime with leukemia. He's since deleted that video alongside of the part 2, which I couldn't find a re-upload of, but I did find a video reacting to it by Food Science Babe, who we actually sourced on this channel before during the Pink Sauce saga. And she also gives us a TLDR on the lawsuit.
Not only is there a lawsuit against Logan Paul's company Prime for there being PFOs, which are forever chemicals, in the Prime hydration drink, but according to the testing done by one of the lawyers for the plaintiff, guess how much PFOs were in the product, in the drink? 3 times the amount that you should have in your lifetime in PFOs from drinking water. In one Prime hydration drink, they found 3 times the amount of PFOs that you should consume in drinking water in your life.
All right, that's not what that level means. I'll get into that in a second, but first I just want to go through this lawsuit a little bit. So this lawsuit against Prime Hydration was filed in August of 2023, and it's against specifically their grape drink. So this is one in a string of similar lawsuits of beverages that are marketed as healthy and using natural ingredients, and these PFAS chemicals are being found in them, and so that's the main reason for the lawsuit, because these PFAS chemicals are considered to be synthetic and artificial when the marketing behind these products is supposed to be healthy and natural.
She also explains the lawyer's misconceptions here.
The lawsuit also alleges that the amount of PFAS found within the product from the plaintiff's testing is approximately 3 times the recommended lifetime health advisory for drinking water, which is 0.02 parts per trillion. So these EPA health advisories are non-regulatory and non-enforceable. 0.02 parts per trillion for PFAS is referring to a concentration in drinking water. This is not referring to a level that a human can have in a lifetime. It's referring to a concentration in drinking water that if a human were to drink water with that level over a lifetime would likely not result in negative health effects. So this does not mean that in one single grape Prime beverage, there is 3 times the amount that a human can have in a lifetime.
So right off the bat, that's just not a good look for the lawyer, but it's about to get a lot worse for him as Logan Paul made a response.
First off, anyone can sue anyone at any time. That does not make the lawsuit true, and in this case, it is not. There's claims that PFOS or forever chemicals come from plastic. So in this case, they're not talking about the actual drink, the liquid Prime. They're talking about the bottle that Prime is manufactured in. This ain't a rinky-dink operation. We use the top bottle manufacturers in the United States. All of your favorite beverage brands, Coke, Pepsi, Tropicana, Dr. Pepper, they use these companies. If the product is served in plastic, they make a bottle for them. Accordingly, we follow Title 21 for the Code of Regulations for PET and all other types of bottles. The products are manufactured by our company in a manner compliant with all pertinent current good manufacturing practices by the United States Food and Drug Administration. All of our suppliers use GMP facilities.
Logan Paul is really just been on a streak of having very reasonable responses, and it seems like he's going to continue this in this video. Overall, though, there's just so many pros and cons with plastic, and you can't really blame Prime using the same bottling companies as the other giants.
Let's say they're talking about the drink itself. Here's where their argument really falls apart. Pay attention.
But according to the testing done by one of the lawyers for the plaintiff,
Hold it. You saw Goodman or Walter White, brother, because this little study that was conducted by a lawyer is absolute bullshit. They're claiming that Prime has 0.06 ppt, parts per trillion. But that's interesting because the EPA says that anything under 1.1 ppt cannot be deemed as reasonably accurate.
Yeah, we are way over my education level here, and probably Logan's as well, as his team likely found all this information for him. So I can really only take his word here, but he ended this video with this.
We're putting out better for you products. Meanwhile, our competitors are on the cusp of getting banned in the United States. The #1 sports drink in the world just had SKUs banned in California for using dyes linked to cancer. That is a fact. It already happened. The difference with us is one person conducted a random study and has provided zero evidence to substantiate any of their claims. Do y'all remember a while back when they said that the FDA was investigating Prime? It never happened. They never called us because we follow every single guideline and regulation. So Tommy, the TikTok lawyer, 4 videos in, man, farm those views, get those likes, and get a haircut while you're at it. We'll accept an apology within the next 48 hours, otherwise you're going to be representing yourself in a miserable courtroom for lying about our brand.
And to that, the TikTok lawyer Tommy responded and turned himself into the human embodiment of a lawn chair.
so as some of you know, and when I say some, I mean about 30 million, I did a video about a week ago talking about a class action lawsuit that was filed against Prime Hydration, which is partly owned by Logan Paul. And in that lawsuit, they alleged that there are forever chemicals, PFOS and PFAS, in the Prime Hydration drink. And that video got like over 16 million views. And then several days later, I think yesterday, Logan Paul did a video responding to me that got, I think he's got like 13 million views at this point. So as I've been reflecting and looking at the onslaught of comments that I've gotten, that Logan's gotten, it honestly made me think that I think this might be a good lesson for all of us on social media, that sometimes it's okay to pause, it's okay to reevaluate things, and it's okay to check your position. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you wrong.
Obviously, he doesn't want to get sued by Prime, as it's a massive international corporation now, but he doesn't really leave it at that. He really starts to over-compliment Logan to avoid being sued.
And the truth of the matter is that Logan Paul is a young, gritty entrepreneur. And I respect him because I know, just like he knows, when you're young and you do too well too quick, what happens is you get targets on your back.
Or, launch something called Dink Doink and show it to your audience. But this situation would really be over there, except it's not, because this video is about Dr. Pompa. So remember the video we saw of him earlier saying a similar thing to the TikTok lawyer? Well, Prime sent him a cease and desist, and instead of stepping back and reevaluating like this guy did, he decided to make a backhanded apology and say that Logan Paul wanted to silence him. So Logan essentially went for his throat.
All right, let's talk about it. After I corrected the TikTok lawyer with facts debunking this crap, I never thought I'd have to do the same to a carrot-colored Instagram doctor. You'd think after this guy already got sentenced to 16 years of probation for stealing $1.4 million from his adopted children's trust fund, true story, he'd stop lying for his financial benefit. And I guess it doesn't surprise me that he calls himself a doctor when he's really just a chiropractor whose license has been suspended and is currently considered expired and on probation. So look, obviously we sent this guy cease and desist. I got him to like half apologize, but in the same video, he just doubled down on his bullshit.
Logan Paul from Prime Hydration and Energy Drinks sent me this cease and desist. He was not happy about this video. However, Logan, I do apologize.
He's even getting called out and corrected in his own comment section for spreading misinformation, but now I gotta come on here and expose the guy because he can't tell the difference between a can of Prime Energy and a bottle of Prime Hydration.
But Logan, don't shoot the messenger. I was just bringing the message.
Hey, don't worry, bro. I'm not gonna shoot you. But Prime is considering suing you for the millions of dollars of damage you caused and make you file for bankruptcy a second time. Buddy, you don't know a single thing about what you're claiming, but if I ever want to overdose on self-tanner or get my back cracked, I'm coming straight to you. So look, send the video, share the video. Mom, send it out because we don't want our kids being influenced by an Instagram chiropractor who stole $1.4 million from his own children.
Okay, hold up. Yeah, Logan really went for the neck. Yeah, there's no coming back for that if that's actually true. So in response, Dr. Pompa, or Chiropractor Pompa, deleted all of his videos on the Prime situation. So from what I can tell, he hasn't really responded to Logan any further. So my knee-jerk reaction is, hold up, why? Is he hiding something, or does he just not want to get sued? So what did Logan just throw out here in front of tens of millions of people? So there's two big allegations here. Massive TikTok and Instagram doctor influencer, but he's only a chiropractor, and stole $1.5 million from his adopted kids' trust fund. Yeesh. That sounds really bad. Let's start with the first one. Starting off with the social media pages, he is massive on Instagram and pretty big on TikTok. From what I can tell, Logan seems to be accurate about this guy being a chiropractor, but he might not actually even be a chiropractor anymore either. But we'll get into that later on. Going back to his Instagram and TikTok, it seems like these videos are his sales funnels to Pompa Workshop. Whatever it is, it seems to be a sales funnel. He also has something called the Pompa program, which is a detoxing program, a very high ticket detoxing program. But they also want you to watch a webinar about inflammation and detoxing. It then seems like it leads the customer to a place they can order some testing for a little over $100. Then this turns into another upsell for a full-on detoxing program that costs thousands of dollars, anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 to $15,000. And I found out all this is because when I Googled the Pompa program, the Better Business Bureau page came up, and that's just flooded with terrible reviews. So all we can really do here is take this with a pinch of salt as we are reacting to this customer's alleged experience. So the first review here is, I purchased 2 urine tests from Dr. Blank for me and my daughter. We took a very extensive assessment and had a Zoom meeting with one of the advisors. After speaking to this individual for over an hour, she proceeds to tell me that if I was really serious about getting started on this program, I needed to hand over $11,000 that day. She even lightly suggested selling my car or asking family members if I could borrow the money to pay her. It was very strange and uncomfortable for me. She even had me apply for a credit card, but thankfully I was denied because once we got off the call, I realized how bizarre that conversation was, and I was glad I didn't hand over any of my money to her. She said she would call me the following week to see if I had found a way to get the money, but I haven't heard from her since. If this is true, that is some aggressive sales training going on. What is going on there? Oh, hey, if you want this detox program, $11,000 here, and if you can't afford it, maybe sell your car. What? That is so bizarre. No way is that real. Did a consultation with them and my wife today. Wanted to inform everyone how much of a scam this company really is. My wife did her sample trying to get a thyroid issue corrected, but they put this big elaborate show and tell when it came down to it, as the cost was $7,000 to $9,000. Seemed a bit high, but willing to consider it if it helps her. I wanted to research a little bit about their program, and he would not tell me anything about it or how it works, but wanted me to put a $2,000 deposit up front, non-refundable, and as soon as I asked about the refunding money, if the system does not work, he said we needed to go through the whole program and spend a whole amount of money before we were able to seek any kind of refund. But if we did not pay the $2,000 today, we would not have a spot in the line anymore, and we could not come back to the table. Not allowed. As we were on a Zoom call, I researched the company and found this, how they were not refunding anyone's money, and they were not returning any phone calls to anyone. I do believe this may work for someone, but please beware. I find this company to be a scam and nothing more. That is super weird. And there are just so many of them. This program causes fear and is pushy about how to open credit cards to pay for the $9,000 detox program. So you have 3 comments in a row basically saying, oh, they either told us to sell a car or open a new credit card to afford this program. What? That just sounds incredibly predatory. The urine test sold to me was the same exact result for multiple people that took it. They're not sick. I don't believe in the accuracy of the test. They tried to convince me to get a credit card even when I stated I didn't have income currently, assuring me if I didn't get help, I'd end up worse. This sales tactic is not okay. I want my money refunded. And there's just pages of reviews like this about their company on bbb.org. I'm trying to find a single positive review on their BBB. To be fair though, I'm assuming like you don't go to bbb.org to write a positive experience, or do you? I don't know. There's another comment here saying, this test is very vague and the treatment process for the program was never discussed, and I cannot afford upwards of $8,000 as a single mom. This is a man with a bachelor's degree calling himself a doctor. Refund needed. There's just so many people begging for refunds on this page. It's insane. You got 9 pages of reviews like this dating back to 2021, with the first one being misleading or predatory practices, paid over $8,000 for an entire 6-month program, upfront in full in order to get 20% off. Within the first week of the program, while watching the first video and hearing how imperative it is to maintain ketosis from Dr. P, he went on to say that the needed testing strips weren't provided with cost of the program. Upon going to recommended site, it added an extra $160 for my wife and I per month, or approximately an extra $1,000 of added cost. These costs were not disclosed, and I immediately wondered what other undisclosed costs would be coming in the days and the weeks ahead. I immediately lost confidence in the product and felt like this wasn't an honest company. Trying to cancel has been extremely difficult. I've had to text evidence saying that they would refund me, but they were slow to respond. So I disputed the claim only to have them recharge me 25% cost, saying I was after the 48-hour cancel policy. I canceled as soon as undisclosed costs were found out. Logan Paul is really lucky that people who seem to be a bit worse than him are calling him out, because that's really making him look good in this situation. But I did some more searching because I felt like I accidentally fell down this rabbit hole, and I found an ex-employee, or an alleged ex-employee, who came onto Reddit to say, I used to work there, so let me give you and anyone else wanting to know about the program all the details. The test that you mention is a urine test that simply checks for inflammation. Nearly everyone who takes the test will have it come back pretty dark. What you're actually paying for is a consultation with a sales rep who is usually not very qualified and not very knowledgeable on what they're selling or the rules of the program. Take everything they say with a grain of salt. At the time of writing this, the program costs almost $9,000 for one person, less if you pay it all up front. What you're paying for is supplements, 6 coaching calls, a portal with lots of information about many things outside the program, and support throughout the 5 months you're in the program via live videos with Dr. P and other coaches, as well as being able to talk to others in the program. Is it all worth $9,000? That's up to you to decide. Is the program itself legit, and does it work? I think so. I did it myself, but my problems were very minor in comparison to most people who joined, and the supplements were an entirely different formula then than what they are now. Okay, that's interesting. Keep in mind though that detox is not fun, and again, that's coming from someone who didn't have a lot of health problems when starting. More problems equals worse detox experience. A lot of people benefit, but a lot of people have extreme adverse reactions as well. Now, is it legit as in is it scam? That's up to interpretation based on how much you benefit at the end of it. But let's assume that you want to back out at any point after signing out. You will not get the majority of your investment back. It doesn't matter the reason. The company / Dr. P claim to be based in Christian faith and adhere by these awesome core values. But the only way to see them act in a Christian manner, if you want to leave the program, is to threaten legal action. Dr. Pompa has been involved in numerous lawsuits. Most are now buried under ads and fake 5-star reviews. I can vouch that employees were getting paid at one point to write 5-star reviews. Or he utilizes the fact that most people don't know of his previous businesses that were sued in the past. He and his family go to church, yes, but they are not truly Christian. I really believe that they are severely mentally ill and don't think that many of their beliefs or practices or how they treat others are wrong. All this being said, could the program work for you? Absolutely. Is it a guarantee? Definitely not. If you have strong morals or values, I recommend finding someone else to work with, or even just using the free resources that Dr. P has on his YouTube. He got his license taken away, but he is very knowledgeable about health, albeit extreme at times. If you're willing to put morals to the side and you're okay with possibly losing almost 10 grand to experiment, I'd say it may be worth to give the program a shot. Okay. Wait, so did he lose his chiropractor license? Also, this is alleged. This is an anonymous user posting on Reddit as an ex-employee. We can really only take this with a pinch of salt. Definitely fascinating, and it in a way makes sense when you look at all the BBB reviews. Personally, I wouldn't be paying this much for health services from someone who's apparently a chiropractor or may even not be a chiropractor. But it's safe to say all this is fascinating. I mean, what kind of rabbit hole did we accidentally fall down today? All I was trying to do was trying to figure out if Logan's statements of him were true or not. And speaking of his statements, the other statement that Logan alleged that he stole $1.5 million from his kids, I guess we'll dive into that as well. So again, Dr. Pompa has not officially responded to Logan as of recording this video, but he did respond to this in a video 3 years ago. Although, I don't know if they're allegations anymore, as they did plead guilty and get probation for this.
We're the Pompa family, and we have one amazing story, but the purpose of this video is to tell our whole story, because unfortunately, we had part of our story told in newspapers. And fake news, well, it really has caused a lot of grief in our family. And we really never thought we would have to tell this part of the story.
Is it fake news if they pleaded guilty? Okay, actually, for context, let's check out this fake news first. A local couple has pleaded guilty to stealing more than $1 million from their adoptive children's trust fund. The twins witnessed their father do the worst possible thing to their mother than himself. Yeah, well, that is scarring. I did not expect to read that. 9 years later, their adoptive parents, 46-year-old Daniel Pompa and his wife, 44-year-old Marilee Pompa, pleaded guilty to stealing $1.5 million from the twins' trust fund. That is beyond devastating. I can't even imagine how to operate as a human being after going through that. So first that happens, then your new parents rob the trust fund. That is absolutely insane. $1.5 million invested conservatively, that would be like, I think it like doubles every 14 years if it's like a 5% return. So if they let that compound, that is set for life money for these twins. Well, there's more to the story. Their grandmother, Olivia Phillips, is devastated. 2 orphan grieving children, taking everything that their parents worked so hard for and spending it all themselves. She said the Pompas went on a wild spending spree, first buying $1 million house, then spending $458,000 to renovate a condo in Seven Springs, donating $110,000 to Northway Christian, and spending $22,000 on 2 home theater systems. This is in addition to $26,000 in payments on a Mercedes-Benz, $3,000 on furs, a $1,000 donation, and $500 on a brass monkey toilet paper holder. Wait, what? Why did they include that? The twins are now 16. Phillips says the Pompas won't let her see her children because they blame her for their legal troubles. She has a message for her grandchildren. "We miss you very much," she said. The Pompas have been ordered to serve 16 years of probation and pay restitution. They are still living in a Seven Springs condo and still have custody of the twins. Okay, I'm trying to understand how this can be referred to as fake news. It seems like they just kind of laid out what was in the lawsuit and added an interview with the grandmother. I guess this is the grandmother's side of the story, so let's hear some of theirs.
Chiropractor steals from orphans. Doctor and wife steal from orphans, trust, whatever the headlines read at the time, I don't know. But when I read those articles, I said, man, I don't like this person or this family. And so with that, today's goal is to tell the rest of the story. And I have to speak for all of us and say, I really don't believe that I thought we'd ever have to tell the rest of the story. But unfortunately, so many people read that and, like I would, think, gosh, these are horrible, horrible people.
It doesn't sound good. It really does not sound good. Nor does it look good that you pled guilty.
Because a family member who obviously wasn't gifted the children,
Custody.
Yeah, was not given custody, took some issue. We ended up in that court battle that you read about. You know, I mean, look, when I read it, it looked bad. You can make things look bad. I mean, it looked like we took the trust money from these orphans and spent it. But everything that was in that article, well, that was my bank account. Mm-hmm. The thing that we did wrong, I would never undo because we were just spending the money they were giving us as a family. But in the end, that was not good enough for the courts. It ended up there, obviously, because, you know, of this dispute.
What? I'm assuming that he's talking about the grandmother here that we just read about in the article, but to give him the benefit of the doubt, the twins, they are sitting beside him. They're adults now, so if he was that terrible, they probably wouldn't be sitting beside him covering for him. But there's just something about this video that just feels extremely off because there's that like one point the son starts shilling the product or his product that we briefly covered earlier.
All 7 of us, we have now, I believe, a legacy now that you kids are going to take much higher than I could ever. But it's a mission that really this world needs. So many people are crying out for answers. Yeah. And I believe we have a very unique one. But
if you're watching this, you know, chances are you're seeing if Dr. Pompa might be able to help you and you've gotten hope. But this is what he's doing is so monumental for our generation. It's something that is going to be carried on and how people are going to get their lives back from these bizarre and unexplainable conditions. It's no wonder that there's so many attacks on our family because of what we're doing.
I believe that's the case.
Am I the only one that's getting a little bit of a cult vibe here? This is just my opinion, but it just, something feels really off.
You know, obviously, if you read the article, we settled out of court for everything that we ever got from the trust and more because of the house.
And I'll just say something there for a second. You know, if you were a child that had just lost their parents and you were 7 years old literally in elementary school, you would not want to be put in a family and have separate paychecks. Like, it just wasn't like that. And my dad knew that in his heart. He knew I needed to treat these two children as if they were my own. Combine, you know, whatever it is I was given to support them and my own income, and boom, that's what
you know, they literally narrowed down a certain amount of money that they could prove that wasn't spent exactly on your kids.
Right.
That right there made me guilty. My attorney was always telling me that. It's like, and you know, I can't stand up and say, no, every dollar was spent on.
So you know what? It was like, okay, we're guilty. Let's just move on.
Right.
pretty
You know,
much
I mean, literally, we got to the point where we were like, we're done. Let's just move on.
Move
Let's
on.
become a family.
You know what?
finally.
And I said, and it was part of the promise, that God will bless it tenfold because he had a bigger vision.
At the end of the day, it was just money.
Yeah.
It was the brass monkey toilet paper holder that got him. Either way though, the parents pleaded guilty. So I guess Logan's statement is technically true, but it doesn't seem like the twins are bothered by it. There were a few comments on this video that were pretty interesting though. Like one of the top ones that I saw was, anyone who wishes to know the legal facts and not his misrepresentation should read the court hearing list line. Like how he illegally looted the $1.4 million trust fund set up solely for the benefit of the twins and not him and his wife, cousins to the twins. They spent the entire trust fund on a lavish lifestyle for themselves and their children, justifying it to themselves by saying that the twins enjoyed some of the benefits from the lavish lifestyle, even though the money for their long-term futures were spent by him and his wife. The facts presented in the hearing were so overwhelming that he and his wife both pleaded guilty to the charges to avoid an open trial, where instead of the probation they were given, they most likely would have gone to prison. They were ordered to repay the trust fund. They agreed to do that, then filed bankruptcy to avoid doing so. Well, if that's true, that's absolute insane. But on the flip side, there's also a bunch of comments on this video claiming that he helped them. So it's safe to say there's a mixed bag of reactions to this man. Some either really love him, or others are really not a big fan. But it seems like Logan Paul has been picking his opponents very well recently, as he's actually been coming out looking better in the last few situations. Dink Doink and Crypto Zoo, though, they haven't really been properly addressed. But I guess that was the story on how a TikTok doctor came at Prime with some inaccurate claims and ended up being put on blast for stealing over $1 million from his kids. But on the bright side, at least he didn't steal like $40,000 from his church and then blow it on Candy Crush like this priest did. So you can check out that video here because it is also absolutely insane. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.